So this one was like, we wanted to write like an L with numbers. And the difficulty was that we don't want to do this with a for loop, especially if things get more messy, like the X question you did after this. So what we do is we create like a drawing board. So we would have an array that will like be a blank page. In this case, that's going to be all zeros. And we're going to quote unquote draw the numbers on the board. And here, what we're going to do is we're going to create variables that store kind of like the X and Y positions of the current like stroke, for example. And we would keep like a variable to keep track of what number I want to write down. And using while loops, we're going to modify the coordinates once at a time. So for example, our first stroke is going to go from the very top. That's why we start from 0, 0. And while we reach the very end row, we're going to increase X by 1. So we're going to go down 1 row each time and write down what I have down on CNT. I want that to increase by 1 every time, right? So I increase the CNT accordingly as I move the coordinates. And the reason why we didn't include an equal sign here is because if we do write the last row, we would rewrite that row while we're running the second while loop. So either you don't include that, or if you do include that, make sure that you are decreasing CNT so you don't overwrite the same space with a bigger number. That's one thing. And after the first stroke, we went over the last row. We increased one column by column until we reached the very last column. This time we're including the equals because we do want to write it on the last column. And we're going to increase CNT by 1 at a time and write on those locations. And then after that, all we have to do is simply just print out our canvas. And that is going to give us all the numbers that we wrote down, and everything else is going to be filled with 0. Any questions on that?